Hey everybody, this is Cody922 here. Welcome to Cody Talks Fandom, episode number 44. This is like my 7th fucking time trying to record this. So bear with me here. Friendly reminder before things do begin that I have an interview with Fox, and that will be coming up sometime at the time of this recording. The date's actually not officially set due to some changes that may or may not happen. So we shall see what becomes of this date. Okay. Oh my god, I'm amateur mistake. Okay, we're gonna pretend like that never happened. All right. Before I have one more thing I do need to say. This episode is gonna be kind of just me going around and doing shit. So for achievements. So I might get a little bit sidetracked a couple times, but I'm gonna try my hardest to stay on topic. All right, so this is going to be continuing along with the Fanon Interpretations series, and up next in this one is the last member of Sun that I will be covering, as this is the last member of Sun to have actually appeared. This is going to be Fanon Interpretation for Mr. Neptune Vasilias. So, Neptune's a character that I can't really properly describe Neptune's a character that I can't really describe the analysis without giving a long explanation as to what I mean by the things that I am saying. So, I figured it'd probably be easier to just get right into it with him. Our introduction to Neptune within the show was interesting because he was immediately shown off as dude be cool, or be cool dude, good point. So right off the bat, there's really no mistaking what the purpose or what kind of Neptune's outward lying persona is. He is the cool guy. And that really didn't leave any room for imagination. He's the cool guy, and that's kind of the persona on there. And what was interesting was that in being involved with Sun, he didn't did not enjoy getting covered with the food from the food fight. And so then Sun sorry, not Sun. I knew I fucked something up there. I didn't realize I said Sun there for a second. And then Neptune is just like, he's not on board with that. But what was interesting actually about that scene was that when Ozpin came up and said they won't be kids forever, so let them play the part while they can, he actually seemed like he got affected by that. Like, his demeanor outwardly changed at those words. And I thought that was an interesting point to the character, because you can take stuff and you can do stuff with that. Now, was he actually affected by that? Probably. Now, was he actually affected by that? Probably not. But it's still worth noting. It's still worth noting, and you can play around with that in Fanon, and I think that that's the important thing for this particular series. Is that you can play with that idea in the Fanon. So there you go. That's a free one, everybody. And what is interesting to me is that Neptune, so from there, we learn more about Neptune, and we learn more that this cool guy thing is kind of forced. It's actually really forced. Neptune isn't really that kind of a cool guy. He is a tremendous geek, which is very obvious almost immediately. Lots of book smarts, probably is a big fan of the X-Ray and Vav comic series that's been shown in the show. And I thought that was interesting because this kind of sheds a little bit of a new light on this character. Now Neptune, now as we go on more, we find out about he can't dance and how he tries really hard to be cool, and that kind of takes away from this persona. And the can't dance thing is also fun because that's an insecurity of his, and he doesn't do it. So to me, it's only one thing to work with. So obviously, this is very loose and very liberal use of this interpretation. Neptune, he can't dance and he doesn't do it. Okay, so that's an insecurity. He doesn't do insecurities. If he has an insecurity, he's actively going to avoid doing those things. And, so the example that I have in my head, for whatever reason, this is the one that jumped to mind. Let's say he's ever been told that he's not a good kisser. He probably doesn't kiss anybody now. He probably just like straight up wouldn't do it. Why is that? Well, it's because he's insecure. He doesn't want to do it because he's worried, I can't do it. So if I do it, I'll probably not look cool. Neptune, being this really insecure person, has really kind of opens this world up to, what happened exactly in his past. What is Neptune's history? What are some of the things that have kind of impacted him as he has grown older? We don't really know any of that yet, and I don't really think that there's enough to definitively say one way or another anything. But you can have a little bit of fun with it. Now, the Fanon interpretation of Neptune, well, is pretty much just falls along the idea of actually what we've been shown in canon. He's the cool guy, but he's a tremendous dork. So, is he really that cool? And that's, I'm always, my job gets a little bit easier every single time people in the fandom really kind of do things correctly. I think that what is not happening in the fandom, which is interesting from the standpoint, I need to stop saying that word. I need to stop saying interesting. What's fun, that's really not that much better. What's interesting about this is the fact that for once, the problem with the fandom is that we're really not doing much of anything with this character. We're not really taking him and trying to do anything super new or anything super different with Neptune. He's always this. The only things that ever really vary with Neptune is he just a tremendous dork, or is he also this guy that's trying really hard to be cool? What is the situation with Neptune as far as that's concerned? That's really the only variety that you get within that I've seen so far within this fandom. And that's kind of a disappointment because I really, really love how many different things we tend to do with all of these different characters. And yet with Neptune, that really isn't super there. And I'm talking more so about backstory things because as far as present term Neptune is concerned, we don't really have a ton to work with here. So this idea that maybe he, I'm going to spout one out that I actually thought of while talking here. Maybe, in the past he was maybe he was somebody that got bullied a lot. And because of that, he sought to be the cool guy. So that way, hey, no more bullying. That one's pretty simple. Not really that elaborate, but, it's something to go with here. And there's really not a ton of differentiation. I haven't really seen any. I really can't honestly think of too many differing examples of how Neptune is within terms of Fanon off the top of my head. One thing about Neptune that I'm going to mention here is Miss Nergasm's Lex actually nailed Neptune in the off season of RWBY. She pretty much gave out her characterization of what Neptune would be like, and it turned out to be spot on. So full props to Lex. Definitely one of the people that I associate with Neptune. Of course, Lex's name comes to mind whenever I think of anybody from Team Sun. And beyond that, Dash, as well as the other person that I really look at for Neptune, just because Dash does so many adorable little sea monkey doodles. And cosplayers are the ones that come to mind are Sun Neptune Vasilias, and why didn't I write any of this down? I don't know why I didn't. With Neptune cosplayers, you see a lot of people that you look at and think like, wow, this is really impressive. Definitely more so to me for Neptune than with anybody else, with any other specific character cosplayers. And I'm speaking from the standpoint of there's a ton of characters and there's only so many cosplayers. So bear with me on that one. Neptune is somebody though who really every single cosplayer that cosplays Neptune seems to be somebody who becomes very loved, becomes very well known, and that's fun, right? Like that's fun. That it's really interesting to me that we have this character that, from a cosplay side of things, really seems to everybody that seems to cosplay him seems to do very well, and that people seem to really take to this. These people, they at least the ones that I've seen, and the people tend to do really well. I've always loved pretty much every single Neptune cosplay that I've seen. I've absolutely loved. I say pretty much because I'm not sure if I'm remembering all of them. There isn't enough out there with this character to really make too many definitive conclusions. There is enough out there with this character, however, to say that really there is room to experiment. And as a fandom that generally is stupidly good at doing many different things with many different characters, that seems to be kind of lacking with Neptune. So I would really like, I guess really here the analysis is, well, do more. Why is he so insecure? What is really the story behind these insecurities? What are all of these different things with Neptune? How are they impacting him? There's XYZ that you can really do with not XYZ. There's a lot that you can really kind of do with Neptune that there's not a lot you can do. There's a lot you can explore with, and I think that'd be really cool to see. I don't really have too much of a professional analysis on this one because, well, it's kind of hard to for a character that there is just not a ton of right now, kind of falling into the same loop. But with that, that'll conclude Team Sun's time in this one, and it'll also conclude every single hero's time in here. We now are moving on. After this one will be up next Roman Torture. And so Roman's up next. I believe on the list for fan interpretations. Yes. Okay. So up next will be the antagonist side of things. So tune in for those whenever I can get them out, or whenever they come out, which is probably in like 2 weeks. Up next, in terms of regular episodes, though, going to be the interview with Skier. So please leave any questions that you have in some form of retrievable manner, preferably on the Cody Talks Fandom group on roosterteeth.com. So, but otherwise, I will see all of you the next time. Bye.